Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 3rd of April and we will be dealing with three very important topics which are in news. The first is Naxal Mukt Bharat. In a major crackdown on the Naxals, the government of India has intensified its operations in the Red Corridor. The Home Minister has also taken a pledge to make India Naxal free, that is Naxal Mukt Bharat, by 31st of March 2026. Well, this internal security challenge has been impacting India since the 1960s. Late 1967 in Naxalbari, this incident started, where this movement started. Their demand is to establish a socialist India. But the way they want to establish is by adopting violent measures. And that is why they are indulged in attacking the government authorities and the forces. Well, let's hope that the Naxal Mukt Bharat becomes a reality. Next is NITI Aayog develops a portal for finances of states. Many states have been complaining that their finances have been reduced. Now, the Finance Minister of India has come up in collaboration with NITI Aayog with an innovative idea where this portal will be there and the financial data of the states will be there of the last 30 years. This financial data will include key indicators like fiscal deficit or fiscal surplus, revenue deficit or revenue surplus, allocations to the states made by the center, where these funds are being utilized, how these funds are being utilized, everything will be there. And all the data of all the 28 states will be present over there. This will help us in bringing transparency and accuracy, reduce false claims on the government of India, and it will also help us in benchmarking. So that portal definitely will be a key push to competitive federalism in the country. Then the next is exercise Tiger Triumph. This exercise is a tri-service exercise between India and USA, currently taking place in the Bay of Bengal. This exercise aims to establish not only military interoperability, but yes, also coordination on the humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. Disasters in the oceans have been on the rise due to climate change or global warming, and now the militaries who are indulging into these kind of drills, the exercises, they've started to take up this also as humanitarian assistance and disaster relief also as a key area of concern, and that is why they are practicing for that. Then we will be dealing with the MCQs based on these three topics and discuss the answers to the MCQs of yesterday. So let's get started with the first topic, that is the Naxal Mukt Bharat. Now, this region which you are seeing over here is largely referred to as the Red Corridor. Red Corridor, why? Because, red is the color of socialism. And these Naxals, they want to establish socialism in the entire country. Socialism is a way of life in which the resources are equally distributed among the people. And that brings me to the reason why their movement started. Their movement started because the resource, that is land, was not equally distributed, but it was promised to be equally distributed by the government. Yes, it was promised by the government through the land reform policies of the government undertaken just after independence. But due to bureaucratic inefficiencies and corruption, land reforms were not being able to be implemented in certain areas. And the peasants, along with the tribals, were not happy about that. And that is why they revolted in 1967 in a place in West Bengal known as Naxalbari. And that is why the name of their movement is Naxalism and they are referred to as Naxals. Now their ultimate aim was to redistribute the resources equally, particularly land, that is, make India a socialist country. And they wanted to acquire power. They wanted to form government of India. They still want to form government of India. They want to acquire power, but not by contesting elections, by adopting violent means. And that is why they are always in this mode of attacking the government. Well, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah has recently announced that, the Naxalism, I would say incidents of Naxalism have drastically come down. There have been major encounters very recently. One female Naxal, very high profile Naxal, she was encountered. Many Naxals have surrendered also. And he reiterated that, by 31st of March 2026, we will make India Naxal free. We should note this date down that Naxal Mukt Bharat's target is 31st March 2026. Now less than a year left. So the key highlights of the announcement: reduction in affected districts. So he currently made an announcement that we are on this path of achieving Naxal Mukt Bharat. Incidents of Naxalism have come down. So the number of districts severely affected by left-wing extremism have been dropped from 12 to 6. There are only 6 districts now which are severely affected. This is 50% reduction. These districts in Chhattisgarh, Bijapur, Kanker, Narayanpur, Sukma. In Jharkhand, West Singhbhum. In Maharashtra, Gadchiroli. Now another set of data. The number of districts of concern. This is another category which is lower than districts of extreme Naxalism. Districts of concern, they are also 6. They have dropped from 9 to 6. In Andhra Pradesh, Aluri Sitarama Raju. Madhya Pradesh, Balaghat. Odisha, Kalahandi, Kandhamal, Malkangiri. Telangana, Bhadradri and Kothagudem. Financial assistance have also been given. So the most affected districts, 30 crore rupees is given, and districts of concern, these 10 crore per district is given to the authorities to tackle Naxalism and to instill extra development. Now the goal of Naxal Mukt Bharat, what is the goal exactly? Goal, as you know, deadline is March 31, 2026, Naxal Free Bharat. Shah highlighted that this target is achievable through the relentless efforts of the Modi government. Obviously, he's a politician, so he'll be highlighting about the government, but the actual ones who are fighting the Naxals on the ground level are the forces, the Central Armed Police Forces and the State Police Forces. He also highlighted about 2 significant encounters in Chhattisgarh, which led to the death of 30 Maoists and the loss of 1 Indian soldier. They were cited as important steps in this campaign. So let's see what happens in the next 1 year. Now he also highlighted about the decline in violent incidents. So from 2004 to 14, those 10 years, there were 16,463 incidents, and then from 2014 to 24, these 10 years, numbers dropped by 53%, 7744 incidents. He also said that casualties, means deaths, also significantly reduced, with security forces casualty falling by 73% from 1851 to 509, and civilian casualties decreasing by 70% from 4766 to 1495. So yes, by seeing these numbers, we can say that we are on the decline. We are on the decline means the Naxalism is on the decline, and definitely that goal is achievable. Now left-wing extremism in India, as I said, it began with an incident in 1967 in Naxalbari, where the peasants, they started attacking the ex-zamidars, the government authorities who had, colluded with the zamidars and deprived those people of their land ownership rights. And then this movement spread in the entire corridor which I showed you, which is known as the Red Corridor. Now it aims to mobilize tribal population, is primarily concentrated in what is known as the India's Red Corridor, covering parts of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana and Maharashtra. There is a declining impact. In 2013, there were 126 districts affected by Naxalism, and now in 2024, there are 38 districts. There has also been a sharp increase in the number of Naxalites arrested. 17% surrendered. That is 1.5 times the surrender rates have increased. Measures to tackle left-wing extremism. So there are multiple policy measures. In 2015, the Ministry of Home Affairs launched the National Policy and Action Plan. This is an umbrella plan which deals with the development of the Naxal affected regions, the enhancing the capability or capacities of the security forces over there, and surrender rehabilitation policies are also there, developmental schemes are there, everything is there in this. So this is focusing on security and developmental strategies. Then in 2017, Ministry of Home Affairs came out with the Samadhan Doctrine or Samadhan Strategy. Samadhan here stands for strategy, actionable intelligence, mobilization of forces, awareness campaigns and development in affected areas. So this is what policies the government is rolling out, and under National Policy and Action Plan, this Naxal Mukt Bharat has been, adopted. There are various security measures which are undertaken, like fortification of police stations. Fortification simply means the walls of the police stations are increased. Their heights is increased. They are positioned at a higher I would say altitude as compared to the Naxals who will be coming on ground and attacking these police stations, because Naxals are very fond of attacking police stations. The fortification, just like in the forts used to be, so it is like their special infrastructure scheme is going on, according to which road construction and all is happening. Increased funding for security operations in left-wing affected states, nearly tripling the budget around 3,000 crore rupees. High-profile counter-insurgency operations like Operation Green Hunt, Operation Octopus, Operation Double Bull and Operation Chakrabandha have been launched to target Naxal hotspots. And most of these operations have been successful. Multiple developmental measures like infrastructure development, 14,000 kilometers of roads have been constructed in left-wing extremist areas in the last few years. 216 Eklavya model residential schools. Then aspirational districts program. This is a program of NITI Aayog, and where this Ministry of Home Affairs monitors 35 left-wing affected districts for socio-economic development indicators. There is special focus on that. And rehabilitation for surrendered extremists. This policy is also there, where government is providing an upfront amount and then government is providing internship for training them and getting them acquired certain skills and then employing them in those acquired skills. Actually, these Naxals, what they do is they keep on highlighting the gaps of the government, the inefficiencies of the government, and inefficiencies of the government is clearly manifested in the lack of development over there. Now the government is delivering on development, so the Naxals will have less to say. They used to motivate the people to join them because of their socio-economic conditions or because of their socio-economic deprivations. But now, since these are working, so they will be having less chances. So it is not just a single pronged strategy, it is a multi-pronged strategy. We'll focus on development, we'll focus on infrastructure development, we'll focus on strengthening the capacity of the security so that they increase their crackdown on the Naxals, and we will try to make this overall region, I would say, a much better place to live in. ऐसे ही होगा नक्सल मुक्त भारत. We cannot just focus on targeting the Naxals, doing encounters and nothing. This is not going to work. We need to, understand the root cause, and the root cause is lack of development. So that also needs to be catered and taken care of. Next is NITI Aayog develops portal on finances of the states. The many states, especially the southern states very recently, Kerala, Karnataka, we might have seen Tamil Nadu, we might have seen in previous videos where I have been talking about, Kerala complaining that fund allocation has been less, where we were talking about delimitation and all. Now, in response to such kind of complaints, the Finance Minister, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, has launched a new portal, and this portal is developed by NITI Aayog in collaboration with National Council of Applied Economic Research, NCAER. Now, on this portal, the financial data related to the states will be there of the previous 30 years. Portal will be named as NITI NCAER States Economic Forum. It will serve as a comprehensive repository of data on social, economic and fiscal parameters, and it will entail data of the previous 30 years from 1990 to 2022-23. So those states which are non-BJP ruled states, they cannot complain ki haan bhai, where you are taking data from 2014 onwards only and you can manipulate that data or you have manipulated that data. We'll give a comprehensive picture, the Finance Minister said, from post LPG means 1991-92 till 2022-23. Let's see what your states or how your states have performed. Then 4 main components of the portal. State reports. It will summarize the macro and fiscal landscape of 28 Indian states, focusing on key indicators such as demography, economic structure, socio-economic trends and fiscal health, fiscal deficit, revenue deficit and such like. Data repository portal will offer direct access to an extensive database categorized across 5 verticals: demography, economic structure, fiscal status of the state, health, education. State fiscal and economic dashboard will be there. This feature will present graphical representations of key economic variables. Key economic variables, what is the revenue, what is the expenditure, where the expenditure is going on healthcare, how much it is, education, how much it is, schemes, how much expenditure is being done by the states, how much fund is being received by the states from the center, and what has been the trend of the funds which have been received by the center. All these will be there. in this dashboard. And research and commentary. The portal will host extensive research and analysis on state finances, fiscal policy and financial management at both state and national levels. So all these 4 main components will be there, which will give a comprehensive view about the state's financial performances, I would say. Objectives and benefits of the portal. First is understanding macro and fiscal trends. Macro and fiscal trends of the previous 30 years. Macro means macro indicators, GDP of the state, fiscal deficit of the state or fiscal surplus of the state, revenue deficit or surplus of the state, where the money is being spent, from where the money is coming, what are the center's allocation. All these macro and fiscal trends will be analyzed, and these trends of the last 30 years will be analyzed. Benchmarking state performance. Benchmarking means you can compare the performance of the states versus performance of the center. Like what is the fiscal deficit trend of the center versus the fiscal deficit trend of the state. And you can also benchmark the performance of one state with another state, similarly placed. So this is going to increase competitive federalism. And this competition can be positive, where the states can compare their fiscal health with other states' fiscal health and then can get inspired to improve. Okay. Empowering policymakers and researchers. Policymakers like lawmakers and all, they can also get access to this particular portal, and they will be seeing that, which state is performing better, what they are doing right, which state is performing poorly, what they are doing wrong, and then accordingly do their policy making or researches. How can things be better? So that informed decision making happens. This is the ultimate objective of this particular portal. So expected impact of the portal, as I said, informed decision making happens. So that can happen. Transparency and accountability will increase. The states who are saying that we are being allocated less, we are being discriminated, that can be tackled. Support for disadvantaged states can be increased. Those states which are actually disadvantaged, support for them can increase. So this is what you can expect from this NITI NCEAER States Economic Forum. This is a, I would say, revolutionary step taken by the government. This will increase transparency. This will also try to tackle the false propaganda which is being developed, if any, by the non-BJP ruled states. Then this will increase transparency and efficiency. Apart from it, competitive federalism will increase. So yes, all these things can happen through this digital innovation, I would say. Now the last piece of news, that is exercise Tiger Triumph. It is being conducted in Bay of Bengal on April 1, 2025. It started. A tri-service exercise means Navy, Air Force and Army will be participating. Key areas of focus: military interoperability, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, as well as crisis situations like the one in Houthis attacks which happened in the Red Sea. So all these are the key objectives of this Tiger Triumph 2025 exercise. It will have 2 main phases. First is the harbour phase, conducted at Visakhapatnam, focusing on preparations and coordination between the forces. Second phase is maritime and amphibious operations, taking place off Kakinada, involving large-scale naval and amphibious drills. Focus areas: military interoperability and combined coordination center. The 2 sides will establish standard operating procedures for a joint coordination center to facilitate smooth communication and rapid responses during exercises and future contingencies. That is actually how interoperability will be established, because if they know the standard operating procedures of each other, especially in the ships as well as in the control centers. Now, participating forces and assets. So Indian forces, the Indian Navy will deploy INS Jalashwa, INS Gadial, INS Mumbai and INS Shakti with integral helicopters and landing crafts. The Indian Air Force will contribute C-130J Super Hercules aircraft, Mi-17 helicopters and rapid action medical team. The Indian Army will send troops from 91 Infantry Brigade and the 12 Mechanized Infantry Battalion. Tri-service to Navy, Air Force, Army. US forces, US Navy will send amphibious warships USS Comstock and the guided missile destroyer USS Ralph Johnson. Marines, US Marines will participate in the exercise alongside naval forces, and medical teams, the US Navy will also provide a medical team to support the joint medical camp set up for the exercise. Joint operations and coordinations, a joint command and control center for this exercise will be set up at the Kakinada Naval Enclave for better coordination between the Indian Army and the US Marines. Joint medical camp will be established by both nations where the Indian Air Force, RAMT and the US Navy medical team will provide aid strengthening medical cooperation during emergencies. During humanitarian assistance and disaster response. So this is kind of a humanitarian assistance, the medical support and all. So that has to be practiced, so that is why they are doing that. Strategic significance of this particular exercise. So it will strengthen bilateral ties between both these countries, no doubt about this fact. Strategic partnership, military convergence will be there. There will be an expanded scope of military cooperation, and largely it can be a message to China, it can be a message to countries like Bangladesh also, that you're talking about inviting China in this Bay of Bengal region where you consider yourself as the only guardian. We are also there, and we are there with the world's strongest navy, the world's strongest army, USA. So this is kind of a geopolitical message also, which can be sent by India to countries like Bangladesh and China. Yes, apart from this Tiger Triumph, India also indulges into multiple other exercises with USA like Vajra Prahar and Yudh Abhyas. This is between the special forces of the armies. And exercise Malabar, this is a multilateral exercise where India, USA, Australia and Japan also participate. All the 4 Quad countries participate. So yes, this in itself is very significant, and yes, such kind of exercises definitely can lead to enhanced interoperability, enhanced capabilities of both the navies. And since this is happening in this Bay of Bengal region, so it can definitely send a message to the countries in this region that India is partnering with a country like USA over here. Now coming to the MCQs. First, which of these states are currently moderately affected by Naxalism? Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Telangana. Find the correct combination in this. This is a relatively tough question, but yes, you need to look into that map which was there on the first slide. Second, which of these initiatives are taken for development of Naxal affected areas? National Policy and Action Plan, Samadhan Strategy, Aspirational Districts Program. Again, find the correct combination. Third question, consider the following statements with respect to NITI NCAER States Economic Forum and mark the correct one. It will provide access to research reports and data sets on finances of states spanning 30 years from 1991 to 2022-23. Second, the portal will provide a platform for policymakers, researchers and other stakeholders to engage in informed debates and discussions about the state finances. So only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. Fourth, in which of these exercises India and USA are common participants? Vajra Prahar, Yudh Abhyas, Tiger Triumph. So again, carefully answer this question. Might look easy, but not easy. Now coming to the MCQs of yesterday. Which of these states do not share a boundary with Myanmar? Do not share a boundary with Myanmar. So Myanmar, boundary sharing is Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram, these 4 states. So Arunachal Pradesh not the option, Mizoram not the option, Nagaland not the option, Meghalaya is the correct option. Meghalaya is over here. It is not sharing boundary with Myanmar. So this is the correct option over here, D. Consider the following statements with respect to free movement regime and mark the correct one. It was introduced in 1968 to facilitate the cultural and economic exchange. This is also right. It was restructured in 2018 which restricted the movement up to 16 kilometers inside both the countries with a pass valid for 14 days. That is also correct. Both 1 and 2 are going to be the correct option over here. Third, which of these states do not share a boundary with Bangladesh? So, states which share a boundary with Bangladesh, West Bengal over here, Assam over here, Meghalaya, then we have Tripura over here. So, let us now look at the options. Mizoram also shares it over here. So, Mizoram is not the option, Assam is not the option, Tripura is not the option, Manipur, which is over here, does not share a boundary with Bangladesh. So this is the correct option over here, that is Manipur. Fourth, which of these ports in Bangladesh have Chinese presence established? So I talked about two ports, Chattogram and Mongla, where Indian presence is established. Chittagong port is the port where Chinese presence is established in Bangladesh. Now Chinese presence can increase due to Muhammad Yunus remarks. So this is what the correct option is, the B option for this particular question. So with this, we come to an end of today's session, and I'll be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste, Jai Hind.